The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Trader's Edge with Steve Rhodes. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. The Trader's Edge. Now, Steve Rhodes.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to the April 16th, the wonderful Wednesday edition of today's Trader's Edge Show. I'm your host, Stevie Perseverance Rhodes, who absolutely knows that each of us should always be pioneers of our future versus prisoners of our past. Hope everyone out there is having a great day, and let's make sure we have an extraordinary one. Now, the easiest way to do that is to always remember that life is happening for us, not to us. That's right. When you and I make that one little 2x4 shift, it means we can find the gift in every set of circumstance that life is going to toss at us. Now, today, you and I, we're going to go check on the circumstance of these markets. We'll go figure out what those bulls and bears, what those buyers and sellers are communicating to you and I at just past 11 o'clock in the morning. I do want you to know that I'm absolutely grateful for your presence here. But even more important than that, and that's this. During this next 53 minutes, I'm here to serve you. So feel free to I was going to say pick up that phone. You can pick it up, but you can't call in. But what you can do is you can send me an email. Send it off to Steve at TFNN.com. Inside the subject heading, if you'd be kind enough to put radio show question. Now, if you're inside our Tiger's Den, and you should be, then any and every ping will do. So let's go ahead and get this show started on wonderful Wednesday. Of course, this is Tiger Financial News Network. I'm Steve Rhodes. Welcome to the show. Well, we begin our day with a bit of a sea of red out there. The Dow's down 76 points. S&P's off 53. NASDAQ down 336. Russell's off 11. Trendy's 145, semis 151, and the NASDAQ Composite's down 318. New York Stock Exchange actually up a little bit. You've got gold that's up 86 bucks, silver's up 49 cents, light sweet crude's up $1.13, natural gas is up 8 cents, 30-year Treasury down 6 ticks, print out 114.21. Our leaders in the clubhouse, dollar-wise, that is, our Travelers Company up $10 plus, Lockheed's up 10, Northrop Grumman 10. United Health, $9.50, and of course the GLD, it's up $7. To the downside, it's led by Mercado Libre, off $57. Asmill Holdings, $35, 5% move there. KLA Corp, $32, 5% to the downside. Monolithic Power Systems, $21 or 4%. And finally, Interactive Broker Group down about $17. That's a 10% move to the downside. Of course, I want to look at what you want to look at. Let's begin the day. Let's take a look at what do we want to begin with here. Let's start with the U.S. dollar index. U.S. dollar index yesterday formed a bull sash candle. That bull sash candle confirms a buy the D point pattern. That buy the D point pattern would be negated with a close below the candle session low from April 14th. That is at 98.99. Short of that, price should rally up towards its oscillator and change line, not shown here. Right now, we can see there's a profile, new profile that is forming, and that is above price. So that would be the price target to the upside, 101.50. In the case of the weekly time frame chart, it's not so sure that price really wants to rally, although it is testing its swing point. Well, hammer candle from back here the week of December 25th, 2023. So that's a key level, 98.57. To close below that would suggest lower price. The monthly time frame chart is trading into a swing point from back in July of 2023 out there. That low is down at the 96.75 level. And just a sideways move inside the monthly time frame for the U.S. dollar index. Basically, that began in July of 2022. So when you really take a look at the bigger picture, what's really been going on here with the U.S. dollar index? Yeah, just a sideways consolidation. How about that, Janet Yellen? Is she not the most intelligent person on the planet? Trashing the U.S. dollar, saying that the U.S. dollar will not be the reserve currency. She's insane. When she took office, the U.S. dollar was down to 86.75. We're at 99.22 right now. I would hardly say that you could take whatever she says, ignore it. That's my opinion, because the charts here really tell us the real picture out there. So with regard to the U.S. dollar index right now, just watch that buy the D point bottom pattern that formed yesterday. If price closed below that low, we continue to move lower out there. By the way, we talked about just shortly, because there were questions, how come I wasn't talking about the tariffs? And I said, I'm happy to talk about the tariffs, but then we're going to have to integrate that into the currency market out there. Why isn't anybody talking about the currencies? As an example out here, where can I put the example? Let me see if I put to the currency page here. Currencies, where did I put them? Here we go. So if we take a look at the currencies. If we take a look at the TLD, the Trump Liberation Day, and I take a look at the euro out here, you can see that it has just simply rallied since then. It's gotten stronger. So, for example, I believe they have a 10% tariff, right? What's the real tariff if we take a look at currency out there? Is it 10%? I don't think so. Dollar's gotten weaker, euro's gotten stronger. A 10% tariff today with the euro at 113.79 versus on Trump Liberation Day, so to speak, out there is 4.5%. That's why I don't really want to talk about the tariff so much, because you've got to consider what's going on inside the currency market. Unless you've ever lived there and done that, which I have, I used to import millions of dollars worth of crystal from China. Now, that's, by the way, the same glass, which I tried buying for years from Shot Glass, which is up in Ohio, since I think Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. Good quality product. And, tried buying my crystal from them. I was paying $25 for, let's just say, a 2-inch cube out there from the guys at Shot Glass. You know what I was paying for that in China? Pennies. I'm not kidding you. Literally, it was maybe 50 cents. 50 cents versus $25. It wouldn't have mattered to me if they put 100% tariff on that, let alone at that stage here, I was paying attention to currencies out there. So the U.S. dollar was getting stronger. The Chinese yuan was getting weaker out there. Renminbi in any event. So yeah, you can't just talk about one, which is all people really talk about, without talking about the other. Even if you take a look at the Japanese yen, it's gotten much stronger. So has the Great British Pound out there. So stop complaining about the tariffs. Not that I'm, but you see what the point that I'm making out here? I hope you see the point that I'm making, is that you got these folks talking about this stuff on television, but they're not willing to talk about the other side of the trade. They just make mention of it, but it's confusing unless you really, look, I grew up in Detroit, and I had paper routes. I had the Detroit Free Press and the Detroit News. I was never enthused to get a Canadian quarter, because you would get that stuff. Why? Because a Canadian quarter really wasn't worth a quarter back then. In any event, let's go back to the charts here, my black E-signal charts, see what else we want to take a look at out there. So we're off the U.S. dollar. Oh, let's go into gold. Gold is rallying big time, right? If we take a look at gold in major currencies right now, the only concern or issue, and it's a small concern, is that we're not at new all-time highs today in a couple of the major currencies out there. I would prefer to see us in a rally mode with all major currencies, but that's not the case. Right now, you've got gold in terms of euros, and it needs to close above. Oh, I don't have a data box out here. It needs to close above what I can tell you is the high from April 3rd out there. In order to say that it's in breakout mode. The yen, really the same thing out there, and also with regard to the Swiss franc. Now, you want to go over into the Middle East. In the Middle East, it's like war is coming. Well, that's nothing news there, right? War's been coming. War's been there for 5,000 years. So in every Middle Eastern currency out there, you are at new all-time highs. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the Opening Call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening Call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Sorry I couldn't be with you yesterday. I got a text message from Comcast letting us know at 6 a.m. that the internet was going down, and they weren't sure when they were going to be able to have it repaired. They're really redoing, I suppose, the internet in our entire subdivision area. Neighborhood, really more so than a subdivision, and we're at the last end of the trunk out there. So I was really looking forward to them doing this so that my speed issues would be really solid. So then we get the message last night that they're done, and the speed issue is 1/3 of what it was. So I checked that out this morning before I came on the air as I was resetting everything out there, and that actually kind of surprised me to see that. Anyways, back to gold. We were talking about gold, trading the major currencies. Now we're looking at just simply gold, the continuous contract, and take a look at it priced in U.S. dollars. So you're going to see 2 different A to B equals C patterns out here. The larger one that takes us back to 1991's low at about the $253 level. The A to B equals CD targets are going to be the ones in the yellow to the furthest to your left out there. That's the larger A to B equals CD pattern. It's 1.272 was at 3170. The 1.618 is all the way up at 3748. There's a smaller A to B equals CD pattern that I've drawn in here. That's the one that comes off of the 2015 lows. Then for the highs out here was 2020, and then the C point out here back in October of 2022. That we are now at the 1 to 1.618 A to B equals CD level at 3309. Its next price target, if price doesn't stop here, would get up towards the 3708 level. So the next horizontal trading range resistance area above here is 3470. So short of gold stopping its rally, its next price targets, I would say, be 3470 and then the 3713-ish area out there. Nothing else really to share with you on gold or the U.S. dollar. If we take a look at what's going on in the general markets, we did have the advanced decline oscillator that still remains above its 0 threshold level. That is, this will be day number 3 above that area. And that signals that buyers are the ones that have an edge out here. Now, the buyers don't really have an edge until the spot VIX index, which is the very bottom panel out there, that's what that is showing, gets to trades below the 50-day exponential moving average. It's got quite a ways to go. We're at 3018, 2547 is the number out there. So we got one signal here that's bullish, another signal that is not bullish. So offsetting, basically they are neutral. We are still in contango. Out here, if you're at 30-14 with regard to the spot VIX versus 3-month, 6-month, and the 1-year index out there. So we still have that contango position out there. In other words, markets aren't settled. You don't need me to tell you that. So that's what I think I had to share with you of most value on my black background chart. So let's go take a look at what's going on the white background chart. So let's do this here and take a look at the daily equity future charts. So we look at the daily equity future charts. What we know is that we have buy the D point bottom patterns for all 4 daily time frames. We also have that on the weekly time frame. All daily time frames are traded within their profile, and all daily time frames are traded above their red oscillator and change line. A red oscillator and change line tells us that the price oscillator itself is still below zero. That is a bearish condition, so to speak. And when I say bearish, I'm not talking bear market, just directionally speaking out there. So therefore, if price were to close below those red oscillator and change lines, then we would have a falling price oscillator below zero. Those would be even more bearish conditions, and then would suggest that we might get all the way back to profile support. But that's not where we're at just yet. So the key levels to be watching the ES mini today, should it decide to trade lower, about 53.24 in the NQ, about 18.414 in the Dow, about 39.993 in the Russell 2000 equity future contract, 18.60.80 out there. So those are areas to be watching. If we take a look at what's going on intraday out here, intraday, we take a look at the NQ, the bottom signal that we have, the only bottom signal that we have, I believe, is coming from the 15-minute time frame chart. So let's go with that. That is a TD9 count bottom. Price has resistance. It's 18,672. If price is able to close above that, then we ought to see a move up to its TD9 count breakdown resistance level at 18,721. Yeah, don't see any other signal there. Let's take a look at the ES Mini. Maybe the ES Mini's got some other bottom signals other than a 15-minute chart. I don't know. But we're going to find out here momentarily. It should take about 10 seconds or so for this to populate. And on the... I just got to wait for it to populate. No idea why that 10-minute time frame chart is taking so long. It shouldn't. That's the weirdest thing. There we go. Okay. So, no, dude, I do not have the same bottom signal at all. So on the ES Mini, looking for an intraday bottom signal, I just don't have it. So maybe it is the NQ that's the one that is the lead out here. What I can share with you with regard to the ES Mini at this stage here, next resistance level to the upside, one we're sitting at one right now, 53.8750. Above that, 53.92. Above that, 54.08 would be the number out there inside the ES Mini. Just because I haven't found a bottom pattern doesn't mean that it's not going to rally. It's just I don't see any time frame that's got a bottom signal. So therefore, okay, Stevie, just go ahead and move on. And in fact, that's what we're going to do. In fact, let's do this here just to finish off gold. GC 0625 out there. And then we'll get into a couple of requests, which will slide us right really into silver. Visual was asking the question, when will it take off out there? So here, when you take a look at gold on the daily time frame, no topping pattern. It does have a Rhodes momentum indicator signal trigger it. That needs a bearish reversal candle to confirm a top. Intraday charts each have topping signals out here, whether it's the 10-minute, 15-minute, the 30-minute, the 60-minute. I got to wait for the 120-minute to form, but I believe it had I know it had a TD9 count top this morning. The question is, has that been taken out? I don't think so, but I just need a chart here to populate. No, it hasn't, but it would get taken out with a close above. This came in at 6 o'clock this morning with a close above 33.3420 out there. The 240-minute time frame chart is going to go ahead and complete a TD9 count top at 2 p.m. And on the 5-hour chart, it's going to complete a TD9 count. Well, it may complete a TD9 count top at 11 o'clock this evening out there. So it's got enough topping signals, but, none of those have really met. All of those have really just led to short-term pullbacks and retracements out there. But you got a lot of topping patterns. And so what that analysis is watch those, because if we rally beyond those levels, what would be the most important level today? I'd have to say it would be the intraday high. The intraday high maybe about, well, that was about 30. Make sure I'm using the right high up here. No, I just simply stick with the TD9 count top on the 120-minute time frame chart, the 33.3420 level. Close above that, you're likely to see a further rally inside of gold. Now, Visual is asking about silver. So I tried to punch up a chart. I'm going to go back to the black background screen out here. And I tried to punch up a chart just as the question was coming in. Then we came back from break, and I wasn't able to do much with it. But here is, so in order for me, you're asking when is silver going to take off, kind of like gold. So here's the continuous contract I've got on a quarterly basis. Now, the values aren't exactly accurate, unfortunately, right? You and I know that in 1980, that gold didn't top out at the price point, which is going to show up here at $40 or something. What does this say? This gives me a figure of $41.50. Right, we know silver got up to $50 out there, but the continuous contract kind of consistent with regard to the way that it's looking at things. We're not trading above that high as we speak right now, and you're asking that question, when is it going to take off? Now, not like I actually know the answer to that question. I can say that on a quarterly basis, which is the chart that we have up on our screen, price is dealing with profile support at 32.13. But this is the continuous contract. I can't get the data if I put it on the May contract for 2025 from a quarterly standpoint out there. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We're going to try to figure out how to answer Visual's question when we get back from this break.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
This year has already been a wild ride for the market. We started off heavily in the red, reversed back to all-time highs, and we now have a trade war looming. Trying to play this chop as an individual trader leads to death by 1,000 cuts. Where does this market go next? Should I add to this position or cut my losses? Where is the next opportunity? Tariffs, trade wars, analysis paralysis. Don't become a victim of this intense market. Instead, join Larry Pesavento over the second and fourth Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading. Larry has been through many markets just like this one, and the insight he provides is invaluable. The dates for this month are April 11th and 25th, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern Time. Get in here and let's start trading. TFNN, educating investors.
This portion of the Trader's Edge is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back, folks. So we're trying to answer the question for, when will silver take off? Now, what I've got up on my chart here is actually gold. We know that silver's not at new all-time highs, and that's the first point that I want to make out there. Here's gold, and what I've identified on this gold chart is I identified the annexation of Crimea back in February 20th of 2014. And we can see that gold really didn't take off from that standpoint. So that didn't seem to impact anything. I also had when Russia invaded Ukraine back on February 24th of 2022, and gold actually traded lower. So the Ukraine war itself doesn't appear to really be having an impact. Now, how can I completely say that? Well, I've also marked here, remember the Hamas attack on Israel back on October 7th. And from there, gold has just simply rushed to the upside. We see that gold priced in all the Middle Eastern currencies is trading the upside. If we went back to the 1980s, that was not about the Iran hostage. Gold was was moving to highs during that period, but wasn't the real silver move really put together by the Hunt brothers out there, Bunker and Nelson Hunt? Yeah, I believe that is so. I think here the conclusion I would draw, at least based upon the current pricing of gold and silver, is that during war or geopolitical unrest, and it's really hard to identify in a chart when a geopolitical unrest situation really occurs out there. When something invades, that's pretty easy out there, or some specific thing that we might put in to the charts out there, some specific function. But I think that if the thought process was that gold's going to catch up, we're going to beat new all-time highs because of the unrest in Europe, certainly with regard to the war that is still going on there, and all the other geopolitical stuff, that might not be the best conclusion out there. At least that's what I'm thinking. If we take a look at the charts here, let me do this. Let me put this. Minimize this, and we take a look at gold. Now, I put the continuous contracts up here, so let's ignore right now the profile levels. Really what I wanted to be able to share with you is where are we at with regard to silver, and you can see on the daily time frame. Well, let me do. I'm going to put up the May contract. So sorry about that. My thought process changed. So let's do this here. You can just see in silver, we're nowhere near, its highs out there. I don't believe that whether we're going to get there or not, we're going to have to find some patterns that are going to take us there. I don't think it's a geopolitical thing. Now, the pattern on a daily time frame is simply that we have a profile change in trend. What's that mean? That means that we have closed above the top of the profile, 3213, for more than 2 consecutive sessions. So this tells us that we should rally back towards the 35 level, back to its recent highs. However, if we look at the May contract for the weekly time frame, the issue is not really the profile. Price is traded above the top of its profile. It is its oscillator and change line. And the oscillator and change line right now is printed out at 32.95 out there. So in order for silver to get some oomph to the upside, you've got to close above that weekly oscillator and change line. Again, not enough data on the monthly chart for us to really even take anything into consideration out there. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but you got to take things one step at a time. And that next step is the weekly time frame oscillator and change line. If price can close above that, again, being about 32.95, we should see a further rally with price getting up towards the $35 area. So I hope that helps you out. It is the best that I can do, and I do appreciate the request. Let's go to some other requests that we've got out here. One from Jambalaya in Tigers. I want to say ticker symbol O. So Jamba, you asked a question while this is going ahead and updating. You asked how much lead was in the crystal that I was bringing in from China. So back in 1999, actually for the Y2K celebration at Epcot Center, I unveiled the product that basically took the Star Wars initiative. Star Wars was nothing more than, Ronald Reagan's Star Wars was nothing more than an attempt to be able to take a rocket missile out of air using a laser. What the laser does, how a laser works, much like kids using a magnifying glass with the sun, right? You put a leaf or maybe put an ant or whatever it might have been. But let's say you took a piece of paper or a leaf and you took that sun and you focused it until you got to a real sharp point. right? Once you got to that point, that's where all the energy was, and you could start that fire. Laser works really the exact same way. Well, you can measure where that point is going to, come to that V and then just simply blow out from there. And what they were using at the labs, at the Livermore labs to test that were pieces of crystal and plastic to see if they could get that dot right to that very specific spot out there. And then somebody years ago, in fact, it was in Russia, when they developed turning those spots into art, so to speak, out there. And that's where I first saw it, was when I was in St. Petersburg, Russia, in the black market. We had opened up a store at Peter and Paul Fortress doing a heads-on bodies product, not my crystal product, at that stage, because I didn't know anything about a crystal product. Now, that's when I ran across a golf ball, a three-dimensional golf ball floating inside a solid piece of glass. I really liked it because I was into golf. I ended up buying that little piece of product out there. And didn't do anything for a while, but I was walking through one of my stores in Las Vegas. A heads-on body store. Was at the Riviera Hotel and Casino. I don't even know if it's still in operation. The hotel, that is, and ran it in a gift shop. Saw somebody with a number of other. There was the same golf ball crystal product and a couple of other things. So I inquired about it and found out that who had made it, and it was a couple of Russian guys that were working on the Star Wars program over in Russia. So that's why I actually hired to develop that product. And in the year Y2K, we unveiled it at Epcot Center for their celebration out there. And that's when, I was being charged a fortune for rent, or really paying them percentage of gross revenue. But in any event, that's when I was buying product from this shot glass company up in, I believe it's in Ohio. And so there was no lead in there. If there was lead, the laser would not have been able to produce a clear three-dimensional product out there. It was really the same quality for the most part as what we were, buying from the U.S. out there, and those guys just could never figure out a way to do it, which was really a bummer. In fact, shot glass, they just had the raw material. It had to be sent out to a company to actually polish it, so it was a nice polished piece of crystal. Anyways, O has come up on our screen out here, and what O is doing right now, Jambalaya, it's going to target the 5820 level. 5820 is the top of its daily profile. It's traded in a daily bullish structured profile. When you trade above the center of the bullish structure profile, it increases the chance that you're going to get up to the top, which is what this is likely going to do. And that's at 5820. The weekly time frame chart does not have any resistance for it other than a dark cloud cover candle that's up in the 60, 50-ish type area out there. The weekly time frame chart is trading with inside its profile levels. It's got support at basically 5601. Your next resistance level 6035, and above that 6418. So I think at this stage here, O looks pretty good. You also wanted to look at USAR. So I won't be able to share a story with you because we're going to a break out there. When we come back from this break, we're going to take a USAR for Jamba. We'll look at SLS for Dan, NVIDIA for Duncan, and anything else that's come in, I'll get to. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
U.S. Army Reserves, USAR is a ticker symbol. Just kidding. It's actually a rare earth ETF out here. And so Jamba, what this is doing is pushing into a swing point with major volume. So this has its all-time high took place on the trade day of March 17th. And that's when price got up to $20. Now, there were 423,000 shares that traded that day. Today so far, 6.6 million shares. Yeah, just today. So odds favor, right? And that's what we're doing. We're looking to increase our probability here of a trade. That's in essence all that we're really trying to do. So when you close inside a swing point, which is likely to do today, and you do it with volume, price should be able to push up to the top of that swing point. It may even be able to take it out. If it takes it out, is there some kind of pattern out here? None that I see other than just simply an expansion of swing points. We won't get into that at this moment out there. The weekly time frame chart, as it was pushing up into those highs at $20 level, that had formed actually a Rhodes Momentum Indicator top. So if price can close above that $20 even Steven number out there, it negates that signal and suggests that you move on to higher price out there. So that's what I've got for USAR. Hope that helps you out, and have a wonderful Wednesday. Dan wants to take a look at ticker symbol SLS. So let's get that up on our screen out here. And SLS, I guess, has got some drug trials going on. They've had some good news. I think that was something that you wrote in there. Well, on the stock chart, it's showing the same thing, good news. The good news was yesterday when price closed above its TD9 count breakdown resistance level. Yep, well, if it had a TD9 count breakdown resistance, it must have had a TD9 count bottom. Not always. In other words, it had a TD9 count pattern. In this case here, it actually was a bottom, was bar number 9. So now you've got an A to B equals CD pattern if you want to draw it in on the daily time frame. That would just require a bearish reversal candle, but price should continue to rally or above all resistance on the daily time frame, other than the left side of the chart and some other candles, but I don't see any resistance there, so to speak. The resistance level, or the next resistance level, is going to be at $1.44. $1.44 happens to be the top of its bullish structured weekly profile out there. On a monthly time frame, no matter what I do, I can't get enough data. What I've got here, what I can share with you, is profile support at 64 cents, resistance up at $1.48. So this looks like it wants to get to the $1.44, $1.48 level. Clearing $1.48 would be a positive and get you back towards the highs, I would say. Now, volume-wise, what are we doing? On a weekly basis, only, we're not even halfway through the week, but the swing point from back in February 7th was 16 million shares. So far, we're at 3 million shares. So I don't even have to do the math. You're really coming in with light volume. Nonetheless, on SLS, you'd sure like to see this not test and reject that swing point, but close at least inside it, even with lighter volume. That being $1.26. So you'd sure like to see at least a close on Friday above $1.26. Otherwise, you've got a test and rejection of a weekly swing point, and maybe that says you get back to test support. Now, support could be $1.25, or it could be $1.14 at this stage of the game. So, Dan, that's what I see with regard to SLS. Hope that helps you out. Duncan inside the Tigers Den wanted to take a look at NVIDIA. Who doesn't, right? Let's take a look at NVDA. Put in a damper on things because of its inability to ship certain chips to China, my understanding. You're welcome. And Dan, NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is actually pulled back, believe it or not. So we talk about profiles. We talk about the bottom, the top, and the center. And the center being where buyers and sellers, both buyers and sellers, the entire community, believe it's fair value within inside the profile range. And that tends to be in here at the bottom of the profile where buyers are exclusively. Whoops, how'd that do? How'd I do that? That would be at 91.87. The top is at 112.87, which, by the way, price tested rejected yesterday. Tested rejected yesterday out there. So to a certain extent, it was already telling you price was going to pull back and pull back to where you'd say support, which would be the oscillator and change line. Well, the oscillator and change line right now is printing out at 104.69. The stock is printing out at 104.78. So it really needs this area to hold. You have both the oscillator and change line and the center of its profile. It's a bearish structured profile. And therefore, if price closes below this area, it increases the odds of a move back to support, which would be $91.87. If NVIDIA is going to do that, I think it's maybe the number one or two, the top five inside the SMHs out there. If in fact that's what NVIDIA does, it will likely pull those down as well. You can see the weekly buy the D point pattern that also formed out here. Not much else for me to share with you, Dunk, other than watching this specific key area out here. No idea whether it's going to hold or not. So far it's held, and that's a positive out there. So I hope that helps you out with regard to NVIDIA. Rich in Oregon writes in and would like to take a look at Hecla. HL is a ticker symbol out here. This is likely on fire, but let's go find out where it's headed to or what's holding it back. Come on, populate. This is only on the slow system. On the fast system, it's only supposed to take 10 seconds for this to populate all three charts. Clearly, that is not the case, so that's the shortest 10 seconds I've ever seen. Now, what you like about this, Rich, is the fact that today price is taking out its TD9 count breakdown level. This is one of those patterns where the TD9 count didn't identify a bottom because the low of the pattern was bar number 7. But it did give us a key level of resistance and prices above that as we speak today. So it's above that in the daily time frame. Where's the next level of resistance? Turns out it's going to be its swing point from back on the trading session of February 14th. This is a Valentine's Day gift, or is it? 33 million shares traded hands that day. Today so far, inside of Hecla, you're at 9 million shares. 9 times 3, 27, going into about 33. It seems like you're trading into that swing point with light volume. All that suggests is caution. Maybe it suggests this tightening your stop a little bit. That's all that suggests at this moment. It's a wide-ranging bar out there. But has it taken out a swing point with volume? There's another swing point out here from back on March 25th. There was 17 million shares, whereas today we are up with 9 million shares. So there it's taking that out, but it's not trading above that level. You'd love to see at least close above 618, and then it increased the odds that you get back up towards the top of that daily candle out there. Now, on a weekly time frame, but you can't get there until you clear that swing point from back on February 14th. That's at the 645 level. The weekly chart is saying my next price target will be 709. That's its TD9 count breakdown resistance area. That was a TD9 count bottom that had formed back then. And finally, on the monthly time frame chart, price is trading inside a bullish structured profile. It's trading above a green oscillator and change line. So we have a rising price oscillator above zero. So the monthly time frame is telling us, Rich, that Hecla wants to get to 703. We've been up for 5, 6. Let's see here. Today would be bar number 6 to the upside. Let me just open up the daily time frame chart here for Hecla. course, we know, well, this has not had at least in the going back for one full year, this has not had a 6-bar move to the upside. So obviously very strong. You didn't need Stevie to tell you about really strong, but it is moving into a swing point, a daily swing point with much lighter volume out there. That's what I've got for you on Hecla. Rich, I hope that helps you out. And as always, thanks for writing in. I don't believe I see any other questions. So nothing else inside the Tiger's Den. Let me take a quick peek here, see if anything came in by phone. The last one that came in by phone was from Rich in Oregon. And that's all I've got. So I believe I've been through everything. Now, you were talking about Hecla. Why don't we pull up the GDX out here? Because if you got a question about that, what's the actual sector itself doing? So we come back to this break here. We'll go ahead and take a look at the GDX.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening Call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Welcome back, folks. We're looking at the charts here for the GDX daily, weekly, and monthly time frame. On a daily basis, things look awfully good. You are bar number 5 of a TD9 count, so no topping signal, no Rhodes momentum indicator topping signal. It's now if you look at where we're at on the weekly time frame, you can see that we have attained the initial 1-to-1 A to B equals CD price projection. That would give us a value of around $52. We're at $52.20 as we speak right now. A bearish reversal candle would confirm a sell the D point top. But this B to C move, C to D leg, much stronger than the A to B leg. We say that because price is on the left-hand side of the angle of that line out there. That suggests this will do more than a 1-to-1 A to B equals CD pattern to the upside. It was confirmed with volume on the weekly basis, but it is not confirmed on the monthly basis. The monthly swing point out here is from August of 2020, and the volume there is 664 million shares. It's the 16th, halfway through the month. We're at 357. So, I mean, that volume needs to keep up in order to take out that 664 million share. But I don't see any kind of a top, not just yet. And remember, the GDX is correlated, very directionally correlated with gold. And by the way, gold has taken out that, it looks like it's going to take out that TD9 count, topping all those intraday signals out there. So gold should continue to rally. Therefore, so too should the GDX out there. And if we just finish off the last 30 seconds or so, let's take a look at the ES Mini out here. I wish I could provide you with some help as to where it's going. Without that bottom signal, I'm going to go back to the NQs. Hopefully this will populate here before we end the show. It should be able to populate in about 10 seconds. That'll get us up to about the 30-second mark. Again, the NQ likely, unless we see it, so it had a 15-minute bottom is my recollection, the NQ. Just wait for that to pop up. And that took price all the way back to its TD9 count breakdown level at 18,721. So an 18,721 number is going to be a key level to be watching and observing throughout the day out there. Our price closes above that, we move higher. Otherwise, price moves lower. Watch for the NQ to go target the 18,409 level. Folks, thanks so much for joining me today. I'll be back with you tomorrow on Terrific Thursday. Have a wonderful Wednesday and stay tuned for all the great programming. Take care.